Hello everyone, this is me, the Jurassic Blocky guy. Sorry if I couldn't get the 100 subscribers special on time. Sorry because I had like a very special guest that was sleeping over with me or with my sister, who was kinda in the video, but I don't really care. And also, thank y'all for helping me reach 100 subscribers, by the way. I really enjoy y'all's support. And as y'all probably could have guessed by now, today we started a brand new series that solely features me reviewing the Hammond collection. And to kick things off, we have the Mussaurus. Yes, the Mussaurus. Now, this is definitely not the best figure necessarily, but I can live with it. Now, the Hammond collection Mussaurus is definitely not necessarily one of Mattel's best, but it definitely kind of feels high quality compared to the Amber collection. Now, the Amber collection kind of has this same amount of details on it, but I feel like the Hammond collection just does it a bit more for me. So this is why we're doing a own solo series that will feature Hammond collection figures in their own series, rather than having just be as normal figure reviews. But we're going in depth. So today we're going to talk about painting and sculpting on the figure, and then after that we're going to talk about its articulation, and then we're going to talk about what should have been fixed, and then we are going to talk about, oh man, this is going to be the fun part. Well, what is there? Painting and sculpting, articulation, what should have been fixed, and my final thoughts on it. And I would probably prefer if anybody wanted to go get this or not. Since this is my first Hammond collection video, I might as well take some slapstick with it and create some comedy out of it, maybe, but I won't treat this like a normal figure review. Now, the painting and sculpt on the figure is pretty good, but I'm not sure how the paint scheme kinda matches up on its interpretation on the novel, specifically the Lost World novel by Michael Crichton. And considering that this is a novel species that I got before any others that are specifically tied to the movies and other dinosaurs that haven't made an official appearance in any form of media, especially in merchandise, until the Hammond collection stepped in. But painting and sculpting, well, let's talk about paint apps first. Now, the paint apps are pretty good. It's just they don't match up on how the novel described them. The novel described it as being more of a greenish brown color, which is kind of also matched with a somewhat of a dark pattern on it. I'm not sure if this is actually how it was described, but I'm taking it like for note that it has like a greenish color to it with a dark patterning on it, and that is probably how I'm gonna picture how like accurate Hammond collection Mussaurus should have been. But sculpting, I like it. I like him a lot. Now, considering for Hammond collection figures, sculpting is probably a a crucial part, but some figures don't seem to have the best in sculpting and design wise, but this one definitely stands out. As for the Hammond collection Mussaurus, but I would argue that there are a few missing paint taps, like on the beak here, and what do you want to call those? The camera can focus. Come on, focus. Focus. Okay. The cheeks, which is not necessarily wrong. And also for paint apps, the toes may need some work. Can definitely see some problems with the toes, and especially on those accessory hands that we're gonna be talking about later. But generally, this figure seems right. Now let's talk. Oh my goodness. Even simple words that I can mess up on. Okay. Take two. Now it's time to talk about articulation. So, the articulation, the head can move very upwards, but it can't look down. It also has a hinge on the jaw. The neck can also, let's obviously not forget, the head can rotate. The neck can bend down, which helps the neck a lot. I mean the head. It can also go up, and it can rotate. Now as for the front legs or arms, they can pivot outward, pivot inward, and rotate. Yep, and there's some rotation. And by the elbow joints, they can bend, and this much inwards and outwards. Let's not forget that it can swivel. As for the feet, they can bend like this and rotate. And let's also bring up the accessory hands. Hold on, let me grab them out of the bag real quick and just swap them out. Just pull them out like that. On one hand, like this, and then you just pop it in like so. Which these are grabbing hands, and they have the same articulation, bending up, bending down, and rotate. And for the legs, the thighs can pivot and they can rotate, but I'm scared to do a 360 on them. And for the elbow, it can bend like this and can swivel. The feet can also do the same. The tail, it can rotate at the base, and the rest of it is accompanied by bendy wire, similar to how the previous iteration of the Amber collection did, but only this time it's made out of much harder material, so it's much more harder to bend. But I don't find myself complaining about this. Just a minor nitpick maybe, but overall it's still the same. They just made the tail bendy wire a lot more harder, but I still think it's a pretty good figure nonetheless. The only downside to this, I think, are how it doesn't transit the the underbelly paint down here to the tail, which is accompanied by these stripes, which is a bad transition in my word, but I don't really think it's not that big of a deal. Now, what does Mattel need to do to fix the Hammond collection Mussaurus? Well, for the first, what I want to consider fixing up a Hammond collection figure, there's nothing to do with articulation at all. Nothing to do with sculpt either, rather than just, excuse me, paint applications. They do need to fix some paint applications, or they probably could hire a new artist maybe, because some paint apps are not good, but at the same time some of them are mostly good, but the paint scheme just doesn't seem like what the novel described. Well, it kind of sounded like it had like more of a greenish pattern, like for base on it. It had like a more greenish base for it, and a more brown, a lot more darker pattern on it. I kind of imagine what it's like, maybe, but I'm not too keen. But this pattern, I still do like it, but I went ahead and modded a bit more, so that way it can be more like it. Now, this image doesn't seem like it has the accurate novel colors, maybe, but I'm pretty sure it's the closest I can get to what it can look like from the novel. I'm pretty sure there's no actual image in the book, because I'm pretty sure any novels probably don't have any actual pictures. If they do, they probably won't be colored. I haven't read or seen the novel, or read it in general, because I don't have the book. But one day, if I get my hands on another Hammond collection Mussaurus, then maybe I can repaint it into its novel colors based on this image. And that is what needed to be fixed for the Hammond collection Mussaurus, in my opinion anyways. But overall, not much to say about fixing up a Hammond collection figure, because I still think this is a pretty good figure. It's a pretty good choice for a first Hammond collection figure. At Target, maybe. It's only around like $15. But now it will be time to give y'all my final thoughts. My final thoughts is that this is a pretty great Hammond collection figure for beginners. I'm not saying for everyone who's interested in a Mussaurus, considering that its first found was like a baby infant, was so small it could fit in a human hands. Because that was the reason why it's called Mussaurus, meaning mouse lizard. Fun fact, by the way, because shout out to my science teachers over the years. But what do I recommend this figure after all? Well, I want to say, what do I think of this figure overall? I'm gonna say it's a solid 9 out of 10. For a first Hammond collection figure, it's a pretty good choice. And do I recommend this to anyone? Oh, absolutely. I recommend this Hammond collection figures to people who want to start out buying the Hammond collection figures, because if you want to buy some of the earlier releases, not only you'll get some bad cartoony stuff on your figures, and it can also get kind of expensive on some stores. The newer release Hammond collection figures are probably the best, but as of this recent wave we got, I want to say that they made the reasonable decision of making these somewhere around $30, which the Hammond collection Mussaurus and the Ornitholestes had did. Now I think the Trio has gone up by a bit, and the Sinoceratops is nearly $30, but still it's $25 in the US. I would still recommend the Mussaurus to anyone who want to start out their own Hammond collection. So, what figure are we going to review next on the Hammond collection retrospective? Alright, Ghost. It may seem to be a little too early to review him, but I'll consider it. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the first episode of the Hammond collection retrospective. More will be on the way, maybe. If I decide I want to get my hands on Hammond collection Ghost early, maybe. But thank y'all so much for helping me reach 100 subscribers. We will have a lot more to do in the upcoming years when we reach 1,000. It may seem like already a milestone, but I may already have plans for a 200 sub special, and I cannot wait when we reach that goal. Thank you guys so much for the support. I really appreciate it. And as well, I'm the Jurassic Lucky Guy, signing out. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, share the video, and subscribe to my channel, so our next goal that we reach 200 subs in the future. Okay. Did everybody agree with me? Yeah, I'd agree with you, mate. What? Anyways, I'm the Jurassic Lucky Guy, signing out. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next one. Later.